It's November 19th, 2018. People have recently been talking about a walkout at a high school in Brooklyn. Group of high school students in Brooklyn have protested their school's use of a Mark Zuckerberg-backed online curriculum that Facebook engineers helped build. And a number of troubling different things that they said about this program. Students are saying that they do not believe the program is effective. They've also had concerns over data privacy. Now, there have also been problems with the actual curriculum, bias in the curriculum, reportedly. In some cases, they say the curriculum put together by this Zuckerberg-backed organization has, some parents complained, they perceive that there's a liberal bias in the curriculum. Obviously, the data privacy concerns and these other issues are serious in their own right, but going into the political bias, or just to briefly go further into that, it seems pretty evident, given the recent actions of Facebook, their censorship on their own platform, what their political positions are, that they do have a heavy political bias of their own. And this was further proven. We know we have there are they're part of these WikiLeaks documents. Part of the Podesta leaks was an email from Sheryl Sandberg, who is also working at Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg used Sheryl Sandberg to try to get advice from the Clinton campaign about getting involved in politics. And they actually specifically reached out to John Podesta. Sheryl Sandberg wrote to John Podesta on behalf of Mark Zuckerberg, trying to set up a meeting with John Podesta. That's Hillary Clinton's former campaign manager. Very controversial person. Zuckerberg wanted to meet up with Podesta. In the email, they said to help, to learn how to help move the needle on policy issues. Podesta is Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, former campaign manager, one of her top aides as well. Zuckerberg also in the email said that he was hungry to learn from Podesta how he could influence public policy. It's just part of the evidence pointing to the obvious political bias that they do have. So those concerns of bias in the curriculum are troubling for that reason too. More concerning maybe than that even are the data privacy concerns. So they've talked about that. They sent a letter to Mark Zuckerberg asking what gives you the right to do this, after they said that they had not been consulted about it. Students had not been asked, and they had complained and were ignored, they said. Earlier this month, this article reads, a group of high school students in New York City took to the streets to protest their school's online program, Summit Learning. Thursday, hoping to send a stronger message, they took it all the way to the top with a letter to Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg. These Brooklyn students become increasingly frustrated with the Summit Learning program, said that it's very easy to cheat. It seems like this program was basically thrown together. You can just look up the answers online, and it's just one person, one student at a computer. So it's very easy to just search up an answer and cheat. So for them to, this is an initiative by Zuckerberg and his wife. So what is the real reason behind this program? If it was just thrown together like that, or is it actually more of a data collection tool, has been some of the worries as well. They said that students had tried to express their problems with their concerns over the program, but no matter how many times they talked to their principal or how many calls their parents made to the school to complain, nothing changed. Said we wanted to voice our concerns. They had just disregarded us, so they decided to do this walkout. So they wrote this letter, and they go into detail about the privacy concerns as well. They're saying they didn't have a good experience with the program. Unlike the claims made in your promotional materials, we students find that we are learning very little to nothing. It's severely damaged our education, and that's why we walked out in protest. Another issue that raises flags to us is all our personal information the Summit program collects without our knowledge or consent. We were never informed about this by Summit or anyone at our school, but recently learned that Summit is collecting our names, student ID numbers, email addresses, our attendance, disability, suspension, and expulsion records, our race, gender, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status, our date of birth, our teacher's observations of our behavior, our grade promotion or retention status, our test scores and grades, our college admissions, our homework, and our extracurricular activities. They collect information on all of that, the Summit program, and this is they're collecting info on high school students, and this is a forced program. The school was forcing them to go through with this program. They'd been complaining about it. They were ignored until they staged this protest. They also say that they're even more worried about this, given that on the Summit website, Summit also says on its website that they plan to track us after graduation through college and beyond. Summit collects too much of our personal information and discloses this to 19 other corporations. What gives you this right, and why weren't we asked about this before you and Summit invaded our privacy in this way? After you meet with us and improve the program with the input of students and parents, we urge you to conduct an independent evaluation of Summit involving students and who have given their consent, involving students who have given their consent before reimposing it on thousands of unwilling public school students. We also ask that you give all students the right to consent from now on before collecting their data. This is important given all the revelations about the numerous times that Facebook has experienced major data breaches and users have had their privacy violated over the past 2 years. How do we know that our personal information will be any better protected than it has by you and Facebook in the past? As New York Times, the Times article, they recently stated there is a huge class divide with the children of the wealthy having small classes, real personalized learning, and schools that minimize screen time, while public school students like us are expected to learn by a computer in front of our faces for hours at a time, with educators only there to facilitate. As one parent has said, these education technology companies lied to the schools, and they're lying to the parents. Our schools, my kids included, we are subjecting them to one of the biggest social experiments we have seen in a long time. We refuse to allow ourselves to be experimented on in this way. So that was the letter sent to Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, and that was after the walkout. There was a response. One article that was from a couple of days ago. This article from today, the organization Summit, the Summit program, on behalf of Facebook, has responded claiming that they are not selling student data, but the letter doesn't exactly even allege that. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. Knowing Facebook, I would not be surprised if they were doing something like that, like selling student data, but they're just pointing out the security issues, asking why are they collecting it. They do say that they're sending it to 19 other groups, but they are most concerned about data breaches, that Facebook has had these failures, and some people have questioned whether they are even security failures or they're intentional data breaches in some cases. People have theorized that as well, but they're pointing out that issue. So obviously with Facebook's history, they can't reasonably say that there's no possibility of that being an issue, yet they're claiming that they do not sell student data. That's what they're saying. Response from today. Students and parents also express fears that Summit, with its ties to Zuckerberg amid Facebook's data handling controversies, is gathering too much information about students. Summit's privacy policy says it may receive information about student demographics, suspension and expulsion records, extracurricular activities, college acceptance, employment, mentor observations, whether students are in subgroups like students with disabilities or English learners. They do collect that data, they've confirmed. We know that they are grabbing a huge amount of personal student data, including everything from disabilities to detailed disciplinary records. Summit says that it doesn't give Facebook employees access to its platform and only gathers much of that data to help schools track student progress, protecting the data with, quote, physical, technical, and administrative safeguards to prevent unauthorized access. I want to make clear to you that we are in no way misusing student data. We do not sell student data. Now, their promise is that this data is safe, that they have these physical, technical, and administrative safeguards. Pretty sure people are not buying that. Likely even the claim that they're not selling student data, but especially the first part, I'm not sure how they can reasonably even make that claim that there's no security problem or potential security issue there. Again, they point out possible bias in the curriculum. Parents have complained about perceived liberal bias in the curriculum, although Summit officials say that schools can customize the program to their needs. So pretty interesting. Obviously, very negative response to this so far. They're acknowledging here. What do you think is the actual goal of this program? Is it a data collecting tool to try to get this info on high school students early on, and as they said, continue to track them into college and afterward? There's a lot of other problems going on at Facebook right now as well. It's kind of a civil war, some people are describing it as, going on at Facebook. Some people have been asking Mark Zuckerberg to step down. Not sure how likely that is to happen, but he's been trying to deflect some of the own criticism, some of the criticism that he's been getting, back to Sheryl Sandberg. Sandberg, we saw, was Sandberg is a top person at Facebook that often works on behalf of Zuckerberg and some of these other scandals where he might be able to effectively do that and deflect some of the criticism that he's gotten as of late back onto Sheryl Sandberg. Those Podesta leaks, it was Sandberg that was contacting Podesta on Zuckerberg's behalf. There's a lot of other issues at Facebook currently right now, but Mark Zuckerberg reportedly blamed Sheryl Sandberg as well for numerous scandals. Just another interesting article from today. So another thing to keep an eye on. What's going to happen with Zuckerberg? What do you think about this program? Other recent Facebook news? Let me know what you think about all that. I do have a link to my Patreon in the video description, patreon.com/realityreader. I have a link to my PayPal in there as well. Thanks everybody that donates through there. A couple dollars even makes a huge difference, helps me keep talking about these issues. I also have a link to the original articles if you want to take a look. I'll follow up soon. Thank you.